So NLP, one of the definitions, and there are as many definitions of NLP as there are trainers, but one of the definitions of NLP is that it's a model of human communication used for modeling human excellence to replicate, update, and to change unconscious programs. So it's a model of communication which is talking about intrapersonal communication, how your mind is communicating with yourself all day long, and also interpersonal communication. So how you are talking and communicating with others, as well as how others are communicating and talking with you. And we use this technology for modeling human excellence. So whereas a lot of psychology studies, at least in the past, have studied what's wrong with people, what's broken, and they've created long books of abnormal psychology of all the things that could go wrong with people. In NLP, we study the highest and best of human excellence. So we look for models that we can actually learn from. If you want to learn how to do something well, you're much better off studying the person around you, closest to you, or in the world who you have access to, who has the highest quality of information and skills in that, than you are from looking at all the things that have gone wrong and what's not working. Does that make sense? So to understand what NLP is, I think the best way to do it is to use a computer metaphor, which, and to break it down word by word. So in terms of neuro-linguistic and programming, just like a computer has hardware, so a computer has a monitor, it has a camera, maybe it has a keyboard, a mouse, it has a hardware. We as human beings, we also have hardware. We have, which is our nervous system, our neurology. So our neuro in neuro-linguistic programming is referring to our neurology. That's our hardware. Just like a computer can have a camera on it, we have our own kind of bio cameras. Just like a computer has microphones on it, we've got our little bio microphones. Just like a computer has a keyboard where you can input language, we can input language in through our senses. And just like a computer has a mouse where it can feel and sense, we can have that too through our feeling of senses. And so just like a computer has hardware, we as human beings have hardware. And that's our nervous system. Now, briefly skipping over linguistics, we'll come back to it in a moment. Just like your computer needs a program in it to do anything that it does, you as a human being and everybody else around you, if you're doing something or someone else is doing something, you must have a program that's driving that behavior. Does that make sense? It might be something that you love that you do. It might be something that you hate that you do. It might be something that you do really well. It might be something that you do really poorly. And it might be something that you want to do, but you don't know how. You don't have a program to do it. But anything that you do, you need a program for it. And you can think about it also like your phone. If you want to, I don't know, calculate something, you would need an app, a calculator app. If you don't have one, you would need to download it from somewhere. And you have programs that drive everything that you do from, well, you have programs that determine how you make decisions. You have programs for making good decisions. You have programs for making poor decisions. Is that right? You have programs to motivate yourself, I'm assuming. Can you motivate yourself to do anything? Is there some things that you're motivated to do? Is there? Because if there is, you have to have some sort of a motivation program that's driving you to get motivated. You ever get excited about something? There's a program for that. You ever, how many people here know how to cook, let's see here, scrambled eggs? Who here knows how to cook scrambled eggs? Who here does not know how to cook scrambled eggs? Who here, if I said, I need you to make me some scrambled eggs for breakfast, you're like, there's no way I could pull that off. Or you would cook it, you'd be like, I cooked you scrambled eggs, and I'd be like, I don't know if that's actually scrambled eggs right there. You're supposed to leave the shells outside of the bowl before you scramble, right? So if you have a program to make scrambled eggs, then you have a program for that. How many people here know how to change the oil in their car? Let me see. Show of hands. Who can change the oil? We got Stefan can do it. We've got Elvira can change the oil in her car. So they have programs for that. The rest of you don't have a program for that? You don't have a program to change the oil? Isn't that amazing? You don't have a program for that. And anything that you do, again, whether you love it or you hate it, whether it serves you amazingly or it holds you back, there's a program that's driving that behavior. From ordering off of the menu, from picking which chair you sit in, from picking what kind of relationships you're in, from motivating yourself, demotivating yourself. You have programs for how you fall in love, and you have programs for how you receive love. And it's amazing because you can have a program for how you receive love, and if somebody else who totally loves you doesn't meet that criteria, you don't feel it as love. Isn't that amazing? That someone could love you beyond measure and it won't register in your system because you don't have it's not how your program receives love. And you could give love to someone and it just won't register for them because it's just not how their program for receiving it is. Isn't that amazing? I find that super fascinating. Now here comes the linguistics piece, right? So you have hardware, you have software, but well, just like a computer program software has to be encoded using computer language, your software has to be encoded using some kind of linguistics. Does that make sense? You don't just have a free-floating program, it has to be coded. It has to be coded somehow. Now, this is really cool because as human beings, we only have 5 basic coding languages that most all of us share. There's not 7, there's not 3, there's 5. Information languages from which all of our programs that govern every single thing that we do and can't do are programmed out of. Isn't that fascinating? I say this, I've heard this a million times, I've said this thousands of times, I still find it fascinating. That every single program that you have that drives your performances and ultimately the results that you get in your life is guided by sensory-based information. That all of the programs are just the only distinction between you and someone else and you when you can do it and you when you can't do it is just pictures, sounds, smells, feelings, and tastes that you're running in your imagination, in your mind, that determine how you can do something. The sequencing of that information and the layering of it is what your programs are made out of. So just to give you a quick example, who here, let me see, who here is really good at spelling? Like you could spell a word. Let's see, we got Enid gives us thumbs up. Enid, today I sent her out a survey that I had created to share with some of my people. And she realized that I made 16 questions, and on all 16 questions, I spelled definitely wrong on every single one. She's a better spell checker than Google, apparently. Now here's a cool, so let me see again, show of hands who's here good at spelling. I had like 1. Most of you aren't good at spelling. Okay, we got Eve raised her hand. So most of us are not great spellers. Something really cool about spelling is that spelling is a visual activity. So if you're a poor speller, you're probably trying to sound it out. How does that word sound out? I'm looking at Elaine now, but it could be Eliani. I don't know how it's pronounced by sounding it out. Does that make sense? If you want to spell a word, you have to have seen it before in the past. If you've never seen it before, you can't spell it. That's why people can speak fluently, but if they don't know how to read. So spelling is a visual task. You know what else is a visual task that I find super fascinating? Have you ever you ever moved apartments or houses? And you have to get that packing tape, that like clear packing tape. So when you're trying to move, and if you haven't used, your last time you opened that packing tape was 6 years ago, and you take the roll and you can spin it with your eyes 45,000 times, you'll never find the end. You know, you're like, where do I take the tape from? And you'll spin it and spin it. But all you have to do is take your finger and scratch it around the edge. You take your finger and you scratch it around the edge, and you can find it less than 1 time around. Isn't that amazing? But you're using the wrong program in order to do it. So that's the end of the webinar tonight. I hope you got some value, and next time you move, you'll be able to find the end of the tape, and that's your nugget for today. You want me to keep on going here? So So that's neuro-linguistic programming in a nutshell. It's a model of human communication, how your mind's communicating with your body, also how you communicate with others, and how others communicate with you, so that you can model the highest and best of human potential, so that you can replicate, update, and change programs of psychological unconscious programming.